Kiko, how are you doing today?
How are you, Daryl? I'm
Awesome.
doing
So you're
great.
you're in lovely Finland. I was just there.
Yeah, it's a lovely, cold, dark Finland. It's starting to get dark now, but yeah, it's beautiful. I love here.
So you're originally from Brazil, from Rio, I
Yes.
believe, and you
Hmm.
have quite a huge history. A Grammy Award winner, one of the first, actually, I think the first rock musician to win a Grammy from Brazil. You co-founded the band Angra,
Hmm.
Megadeth for several years. And now you're focusing on your own solo career. You just released an album, Theory of Mind, that came out in October. You just have a new music video that you released. So you have a lot happening. So tell me, how did you get from Brazil, a young guitar player in Brazil, to doing all these things? Tell me your how it got started for you, all that kind of stuff.
Oh man, that's a long story. Yeah, so yeah, I was born in Rio and then grew up in São Paulo, which is a big city, and start, playing acoustic guitar, classical guitar when I was young, just as a hobby, learned the first chords. My parents are not musicians. I didn't have any musician around in the family. I just enjoyed. Then we had like Rock in Rio, I think was a big thing, the festival in Brazil, in Rio. I was too young to go, but I remember watching on TV the bands, Queen, uh, Iron Maiden, Whitesnake, Yes, James Taylor, George Benson, AC/DC, Ozzy, Scorpions, all those bands and guitar players, and it's like I was mesmerized. And then I kind of discovered heavy metal, and start having electric guitar lessons. I got my first guitar was like a black SG copy, right? Not original Gibson, but like a
Yeah,
Brazilian made, but pretty good Brazilian made Black SG, like the Black Sabbath fan, right?
right.
So
Tony,
eh,
our buddy
yeah,
Tony.
Tony, exactly. And so then I started, and then I got into it, and then I just started practicing and playing and enjoying and spending my afternoons and after school time and weekends playing guitar and discovering, buying magazines and trying to get everything that I had, like in Brazil. I mean, nothing to compare with we have nowadays, right? But in the 80s was already difficult, and in Brazil it's even more difficult to get like scores or books, song books, and things
Right.
like that.
And this is
Which,
before YouTube. This is before now
oh
it's easy.
yes,
Now it's easy. You see everybody,
yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying. It's like you
Yeah,
have VHS. So, but I have like,
exactly.
so I have some great teachers when I was a teenager, and then I start, slowly getting some VHS or some, Guitar Player magazine, Guitar World magazine, or Young Guitar magazine. It was a magazine from Japan. I remember going to the Japanese town in São Paulo to find those magazines that you could have some scores there, some
Mm,
some songs, to learn the licks, the
yeah.
phrases, guitar stuff.
Were you like studying? Are you looking for like tablature or just new
Yes,
bands
exactly.
or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
awesome.
And then some friends, they would go to some other guy's house and jam, uh,
Sure.
good no internet times, like everything was like
Yeah, yeah.
organic,
The
human
prehistoric.
beings, prehistoric human beings interacting with other human beings, So, so this I started like this, and then start playing the small bands, friends, and nothing really serious. And then I met the guys from Angra. They starting the band, So I'm not the like the founder is the other guitar player, Rafael, and
Uh-huh.
then he had the idea, the name, and he started finding other guys that would be good players to have this kind of a. The big reference would be Queensryche, was like
Mhm.
our, this band from Seattle, right?
Right.
Queensryche,
Yep.
some kind of a metal but more sophisticated, and of course Maiden, Queen, like this um, metal with some sort of a sophisticated uh, touch, like a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
progressive in a way. Uh, so then the band started. We got a, and then we have a contacts back then, sending faxes. and then we got
Cassette tapes.
cassette tapes and faxes,
Yeah.
and then we got like some a deal with JVC, which is the record company from Japan, because
Right.
Japan was like more into like discovering bands, or for them, Brazilian band, American bands, like okay, that's far away
Yeah, and
countries anyway.
they love their rock and metal in Japan too, right?
They love this yeah, and we have this classical element, like a little bit of neoclassical kind of thing that's in the US was already going, because I'm talking about 93, 94. These are like grunge times, like Metallica Black Album. So this is a different, but Japan was still like a little bit more 80s, guitar solos, two guitars, like shred and technical
Right.
things. Um, and then we got that advanced money to record our first album, and then we spent all the money going to Germany to record with in a proper studio with a proper producer, a metal
Right.
producer, Charlie Bauerfeind, and then we got gold disc in Japan with that
Wow.
album.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
all
and
those kids from
Germany,
Brazil.
yeah, and
Yeah,
Germany is interesting because Germany, a lot of people don't realize that Germany is actually one of the largest in itself, one of the largest music markets in the world,
exactly.
as is Brazil, right?
Yeah, but like Germany back then, I mean, Brazil is huge, huge audience, huge music industry, but not metal. The
Mm,
metal side of Brazil, I mean, the studios and the producers, we didn't have back then like a metal community that, as good as we thought,
yeah. And in
as
Germany, you had
the
like
German.
Scorpions, you had a lot of big bands out of Germany, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Accept. And then the whole industry and equipment and studios and the knowledge of getting guitar tones and drums, the whole thing. So it's a great album. Angels Cry is the name of the album. It's like the gold disc in Japan, and then we got the deal in Europe, then in Brazil, then the band started like really focusing on those markets, South America, Europe, um, and then Japan sometimes going there because we're like pretty big there, but it's quite expensive to go there. So we went a few times there. Uh, so then that's my career.
yeah. And
And
how
in the
many
90s,
how many records did you have with Angra?
many, like 7, 8,
Yeah, I know it's quite a
stuff
few.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, so
And
it was 20 something years, 20
wow.
something, 20, because I'm talking about first album 93 to 2015, right?
Wow.
But
Yeah.
the last
Amazing.
two, so it was basically my career. And then in the meantime, also in the year 2000s, I did my instrumental solo albums because I always liked the Jeff Beck, the Joe Satriani, the Steve Vai, the Shrapnel record albums, the Greg Howe,
Yeah.
Vinnie
Yeah.
Moore. So the guitar players, the Americans, um, Mark Friedman, that I remember like listening to Mark Friedman that later he joined Megadeth, but even before when he was playing his instrumental albums. So I was like really into the guitar thing. I'm a
Yeah,
guitar
and
fan,
something that's interesting about your solo records, especially, is that they're the melodies. I mean, obviously they're shredding records, and you're a great guitar player, but the composition and the melodies are really, and you hear that like all throughout kind of what you've been doing. Is that
Thank you.
did that kind of start with listening to like Jeff Beck and listening like who were some of your biggest influences?
I think I could, regarding melodies, you learn melodies from many different places. Of course, I love to listen to classical music, to like pop music, to see how they deal with melodies or soundtracks, but also Jeff Beck, Joe Satriani. Would be both those two guys because they treat the melody like in using the guitar, instrumental music. They respect the melody. How can I explain? Yeah, they respect the melody. I think that's
Yeah,
the period.
they don't
So
just play the melody to get to the guitar solo.
exactly. So
Yeah,
they treat the melody as a vocal melody, as a singer would treat the melody, So all the lyricism of how to play that specific note. And then if you read interviews of those guys, it's not like, okay, I'm gonna play the melody because I want to show off my shredding licks in between the notes of the melody. It's not that.
right,
When you're playing the
exactly.
melody, that's the melody. And then comes the guitar solo or the shred part or something technical after. So if you listen to the Satriani, it's very clear. Jeff Beck, you add some stuff in between, but the melody is respected. And then if you think like this, you're gonna have compliments like yours, like, oh, it sounds melodic, because you're just giving time for the person, to the listener, to listen the
Yeah.
melody, not adding, trills in between,
Yeah, because I mean, the solo, and once you have a really strong melody, then the solo is sort of the orgasmic part of the song, right? In a way, especially for other players that are listening, because they want to hear that, but you're giving them
Yeah,
some awesomeness before you get there, which is, I always equate it to jazz musicians. You can tell the guys that respect the melody versus the guys that just want to play the melody to get to the solos.
yeah,
it's a different
yeah,
way
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
thinking.
yeah. So yeah, the jazz also, because the jazz, you're always gonna have the head, the theme, and
Right.
then you're gonna play the theme to open for improvisation, and then you go back to the theme again, and that's it. So, and then you improvise on top of the same harmony of the theme. You might even mention the theme during your improvisation, which is a cool thing to do,
Yeah.
or you transform the theme into during your improvisation. So that's a jazz approach. In the classical approach, you have the melody like a symphony. You have the melodies in the development of these melodies. If it's like a concerto, like a violin concerto, you're going to have the melodies of the concerto plus all the technical things of the violin, because it's a soloing, right? So if you play guitar and you create music thinking, respecting the melody, also thinking the structure of the song, just like a normal pop song. Have the
Right.
verse, pre-chorus, chorus. Now have like something else, which can be a guitar solo, can be an instrumental part. Although the whole song is instrumental, but I don't treat
Yeah,
the verse
but
and the chorus
there's a
as instrumental.
formula. Yeah, there's a
You right?
formula that works. And it's not only for pop; it works for music in general. That going back
Exactly.
to
So
Beethoven and Mozart. And
exactly. So the
yeah,
melody is important. So yeah, so that's the way I think about my songs, and that they have the songs has a lot of parts and intros and stuff, but you have moments that the melody is very clear, and I think that brings the listener to a certain place that they can enjoy the music, because
yeah,
that's
it's
the
a deeper
way that's what I
right.
want to.
Yeah, it's a deeper approach than just being a shredder, which is, there's nothing wrong with that either. But it's a bigger, broader view, I think.
Hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about your Megadeth experience. I don't want to, I
Yeah,
mean, obviously that's a big part of your career, so we should
of
talk
course.
about it. So you're doing the other band. How did the Megadeth thing come about? How did that happen for you?
Yeah, so the band was like we kind of we I went to LA. Just was like, oh, you know what? I traveled the world throughout those 20 something years. I traveled a lot in Europe, Asia, in Japan, South Asia, Latin America, and the U.S. was never. Um, U.S. Canada was never a territory that Angra could do something. For
To
some
kind of
reason.
break
I mean,
into, yeah,
yeah, it's very hard because it's already a mature market, let's say, right? So
yeah,
you have the American bands, you have the language as well, the accent. Um, we're trying to do some things like with some Brazilian music as well. Maybe it was like too much, and also
yeah.
have like all the
Trying to kind of
grunge.
figure it all out.
And
Yeah.
then it's like, probably like in the trend, like a little bit behind, because you know, U.S. is like always kind of dictating. So you have the grunge, you have those new
Mhm.
styles, and then we're not like a new grunge band. We're still doing the metal from the European metal. So
Right,
this, like Maiden, Saxon, and Scorpions, and so we were more like
right,
European in this sense, the band,
yeah.
right? So US was never. I remember we went to the US like for the Prog Power Festival in Atlanta. Some specific situations that people wanted to have that European metal kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, they're
Or like
looking for that.
or the
Yeah.
70 tons of metal cruise, because it's like a lot of European bands. So, and then I went to, but I was going to the NAMM show. I was staying there.
Yeah.
I have some
Yeah. And
cousins, American
you're
cousins.
probably running into other guys even when you're in Europe on tour, all these different bands, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So I decided to stay a while there in LA. And then in the end, that year turned into a few other years. And then I got the invitation from Megadeth. Actually,
Mm.
it, everything happened, I think, because I knew some guy. I knew the guys from Trivium,
Yeah.
which is a band from the same management from Megadeth. And then Matt from Trivium, he always liked Angra and our work, my work as a guitar player. I think so. He told the guys from the Megadeth management about me.
Yeah.
Also, I played with Ellefson, Megadeth bass player.
Right.
I played in an all-star metal band kind of thing, and then also an M show, and also here. I mean, here, not here in Finland, but there in South America. It happened that I played with him in this all-star metal band. It was like Vinny Appice on drums, Geoff Tate on vocals, Queen's Reich, and Alex on bass, and me on guitar. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
awesome.
I think he saw me playing, and he got my number, my email, my phone number. It was like that moment that I think like Chris Broderick left the band or is about to leave the band. So I don't know. He just in case got my contact. So later, many months later, I got the call. Hey, Kiko, are you there? Can I call you? And then Dave called me. It's like, yeah, want to come here to Nashville? And then I went to Nashville. I didn't know. Yeah, I thought it was an audition with several guitar players or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
you would assume it's a million different
a typical
guys, right?
audition, because I got the the hotel information. I got the tickets on my email. Right. It's like go to next, and then it was like the call was like Thursday and the flight was like Monday, something like that.
Wow, quick, yeah, really fast.
Yeah. 3 days later, and then during those that weekend, I kind of learned and then did a video playing 4 Megadeth songs and sent to Dave and to the management and Alex and everybody. Then I went there, thinking it would be an audition with my acoustic guitar, my electric guitar. It's like, and then it was basically me and Dave having lunch.
Yeah.
So there was no audition at all. So it was me and Dave. He was driving me around Nashville. He took me to his house. We went to the Buckets. Like to have a. It's a famous restaurant there. That like a Lippes Fort.
So you're kind of thinking. So when am I going to actually play? Right.
Exactly. It's like. When is the playing moment it's going to happen, So basically, Dave took me at the hotel like early in the morning, like 9 a.m. or something like that. And then it was like the whole day with him. But it's totally understandable because you can go online and see if I'm able to play or not.
Yeah, he knew you could play. He just wanted to see. He wanted to get your vibe
listen to
and
my
see how
album.
You were. Yeah,
exactly. You want to see like the person. You have to. Because if you want to open the doors of your house, I mean Megadeth, right? You have and welcome me. You need to know what kind of person,
right?
He's gonna have to deal. It's like he's like a, good person, whatever.
Yeah, and that's that's actually
personality.
Right, and that's a good lesson for players because everybody always thinks like you got to be a badass player, but that's not enough. You got to be a decent human that can sit on a tour bus or in a van and not drive people crazy, right?
Exactly, totally.
Yeah. So
the more you tour, the more you learn that, right? The more you tour, is more important the person than how good the person plays. And then of course you have to have a certain level to be able to play. Of course you cannot, be a bad player, but if you're able to play the songs, now it's all about your personality, and how much you're willing to give, to work for that entity, which is the band, So
and
then spend the day,
Yeah, it's the band first in that situation because I know those guys. You guys must have been on the road constantly with Megadeth, I would imagine.
Exactly. Oh yeah, and that is basically like you're on stage like for 2 hours, and then what about the rest of the day?
Yeah,
exactly. You're together.
Yeah.
You're like having breakfast at the hotel. You go down to have breakfast at the hotel. Everybody's there, So there's no way to escape. I mean, yeah, and if you try to escape, it doesn't look good. Like I'm sorry, I'm having breakfast in another place. It doesn't look good. So it's a family, and it's super cool. Like the touring when everybody, and I'm talking not only about the band, I'm talking about the crew as well. So we have like 15 to 20 people, the core of the group, and then everybody likes everybody. because
Yeah.
if somebody gets out somehow, some discussion or something, uh, somebody has to leave, because it has to be a good vibe the whole time. Otherwise, it's pretty hard to tour, because the touring is already a tough thing, right? You're always on the move. You're always traveling. There's a lot of beautiful things, of course, but you're away from home. You're away from you. You're missing the birthdays or whatever special occasions with your family and kids, etc. You're on tour with that group, so it has to be a good vibe, right? Or tour bus, hotels, backstage, hours and hours waiting, problems, difficult situations, stress, anxiety of going on stage, and then
Just all the
people
stuff.
pushing
Yeah.
all the stuff, people pushing, you want to perform, you want to go on stage and play well, and you want to show, I want to show to myself and then also to my peers and to the fans that I'm a good player, because my identity is completely connected to that. So if I
Yeah.
don't play well, I I know, I don't need a
And
fan to tell me,
metal
you know?
fans can be very unforgiving, right?
Yeah, but before they say anything, I know,
Right.
because I'm worse than them.
Yeah. You're a
First,
perfectionist, so
because
you right.
yeah, because I'm a metal fan as well, and
Yeah.
it's me there on stage. I'm the one like, oh my God, how how did I miss this note? So, and then so, oh, I should prepare better that part of the song or something like that. So it's a constant thing, and then of course the musicians, everybody from the band also feel in a deeper way if you're in a good condition or not to play, to perform that night or that tour that week. And then everybody might have at some point any personal problem at home or something difficult, and then people respect each other's space as well.
Right.
There's all that, that, you know, uh,
Yeah, that's
so
that's the professional aspect, like all of that stuff, right? Being prepared, being nice, dealing with, obviously things are always happening on the road, crazy stuff. So you have to choose how you're going to deal with it. Are you going to like be an even-tempered person, or are you going to be like a madman? So you have
exactly.
to kind of figure that out. And so you won a Grammy with Megadeth,
Yeah.
and that was
Yeah. So
was Dystopia, I think was the record.
Dystopia. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I went there, spent this, day with Dave, and then the next day flew back home, um, and then like a week later. So far, Dave didn't say anything. It's like we just have this conversation forever. We had a sushi, we have a hamburger, we had like a coffee. Like you got to know like all the Nashville. Uh, we visited some, some memorials and stuff. Like what
Yeah.
some. Around Franklin, they have some cool
Right. You're like
historical places
sightseeing
there.
and doing all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it's like showing me like, okay, this, the Civil War was. I mean, I think this the last battle of the Civil War was here, kind of thing. Like, okay,
Right. Sure.
so yeah, so and then a few days later, hey Kiko, another email from the management. I come back to Nashville. So like a week later, now it's a ticket just you know, L.A. Nashville. No
Oh, one
Nashville
way.
L.A.
That's a good sign.
one way, one way ticket.
Funny.
Bring
Yeah.
your guitar, and then and then was the recording of Dystopia. So
Wow.
and then we were in a Lippes Fork, which is like in the studio um, there, and then Dave rented a house like by the studio. It was me and Chris Adler, the drummer,
Right.
and then like pre-production. So I actually I got there, and even like I could collaborate with the songwriting a bit in 3 songs. Got to know
Awesome.
Dave better. Got to know the whole thing was new for me, right? Like because I mean LA is a way more international, right? LA is LA, so you find people from all different countries you can imagine, right? And then, but then when you go to the um, Lippes Fork, like Tennessee,
Yeah. You're the
it's
little
different.
small town. Yeah.
The small towns in Tennessee, like it was so cool. So it's so different. Um, and then I was like there the whole day in the studio, pre-production, learning the ideas that Dave had for the album, collaborating a bit with new ideas, and then I was there the whole time, maybe like a month, something like that. And then I recorded all the rhythm guitars and then all the solos, etc. Before Dave recorded, and then I left, right? Because I still had some dates with Angra because they had
Right,
the
because you're
deal.
still, you haven't
Yeah,
you haven't really quit that other band, right?
exactly. But then this was kind of a okay in the sense, it's never okay because I had like a long relationship with the guys from Angra.
Yeah.
But I told them, I asked them, how do you feel about it? We have like an open conversation about this.
Mm.
And they said like, oh man, yeah, go for it. You know, if it would be
Yeah,
me, I
because
would
they were
go, you
probably
know.
Megadeth fans themselves, right?
Yeah. Yeah, some guys, yeah, some not much, but anyway,
So
so
okay.
yeah, but yeah, of course, he's a well, you know, he's a big band, and of course they would. The Felipe, the bass player, is a big Megadeth fan. So he can play every song and stuff. He said like, come on, like, go for it, you know.
Yeah.
But it's a difficult decision because at the same time they see they know it would be a good thing for me, but they would lose their guitar player, and I had an important role in that in Angra, right?
Sure.
So but you know, life, and then they were okay with that, and then but I had to do all my commitments, you know, on that year. So I did all the concerts, and I prepared the you know the guy who would substitute me there, and then we did the album Dystopia, and Dystopia was recorded in 2015, but was released in 2016, January 2016, and then Grammy winner. What can I
Yeah,
say?
that's amazing. Yeah.
The first Grammy for Megadeth. I joke sometimes, you know, they needed
Well,
me to get it.
maybe so. Yeah, it seems like.
uh,
But I mean, but
because
you know,
I think they were nominated like more than 10 times. I don't know,
oh
11,
wow,
12 times
I didn't
the
know that. Okay.
nomination. Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like almost there,
You
almost there.
pushed them over the edge.
Yeah. And
Yeah, but I
actually
mean,
the second album I did with them was also nominated, but Ozzy won.
yeah.
Because you know
You don't feel too
come on,
bad losing to
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
Yeah,
In a way.
exactly. And Ozzy, and there was like Jeff Beck, you know, Jeff
Yeah.
Beck. Yeah, it was like, you know, like
Yeah,
the
it's
latest Ozzy
crazy.
album, right?
Yeah, it's
With
crazy.
Jeff
Yeah.
Beck. So, I mean, he deserves.
Yeah, that's awesome, and you're a great player, and I'm sure you definitely obviously had an influence on that band, and that's great that Dave was willing to let you have an influence because sometimes in that situation, you're coming in after other guys that are very well established, and you have to kind of find your own space. That's an important part of that thing, don't you think?
Yeah. No, I have to thank Dave for all this the space he gave me because I mean from outside I remember when I got the invitation, right? Like we did this the first day. First thing I did was to buy his biography, right? So like, okay, let's start reading Dave Mustaine biography. So I
Yeah,
start reading and then you hear stories about Dave, you know, the whole
yeah, Metallica, all
thing.
that stuff. Yeah,
You know, the Metallica, I was like the fans, you know, like because I met Dave in 2008. So seven
okay,
years prior to that, I had a Japanese magazine front cover photo session with him.
wow,
So that's, you know, it's how like Angra was pretty big in Japan. So I was invited to be the guy for the front cover with Dave Mustaine because we were playing the same festival. So we were like in
awesome.
Tokyo. And then was like this photo session, you know, all these people from the magazine, the photographers, all the, you know, and then Dave came. It's like he didn't know who I am. It's like
Who's
guy?
this
I'm
kid?
taking pictures. But with well, but he trusted that okay, if the magazine is saying this guy is important, so
Right.
let's
Yeah.
do it. So we did this picture. So he didn't remember when I was there in Nashville that I was the guy from the magazine. So I like,
Funny.
hey, look, we know each other already. Here's
We're
look, check
bros.
this out. Yeah, 2008. I was
Yeah,
like, oh my
funny.
God, yeah. So, it was, you know, it's like even then we did another front cover for the same magazine, Burn magazine. It was like, you know, one of the most iconic rock magazines.
Right.
And we did another photo session holding that
Oh,
because
that's
kind of
funny. How funny.
you know, kind of the journalist that kind of put us together in
Well, that's kind
2008.
of like a full circle moment, though, right?
Totally. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome.
So,
So,
but then Dave, I was saying like you have these stories about Dave, but then when I was there at the studio, I mean, I'm not saying it was easy, but he was very open. So I played piano in that album. I played acoustic guitar because I love playing classical guitar. So I have a full intro with classical guitar, like instrumental song. It's only me. And he said, like, Kiko, write a song that can highlight you. So it's very open to have,
That's
because
amazing. Yeah.
because Megadeth is a guitar band. So
Right.
of
Sure.
course, for Megadeth to flourish, a new album has to have good solos and good guitar riffs. It's all about guitars more than
Yeah.
drums, and then it's about lyrics and Dave's voice, of course, and the whole the image of the Vic and
Yeah. All that stuff. Right.
all
Sure.
that stuff. But the guitar solos and the guitar work has to be amazing.
Yeah. Has to
Otherwise,
be
it's not Megadeth,
right.
right? So he gave me a lot of space. I have to thank him forever, because then the next album I did 8 co-writing with him. So it was a lot of stuff. So Dave was very cool in this sense,
Yeah,
and
that's
easy to
awesome.
work.
That's awesome to hear, because I know, like, you never know. I mean, I'm a musician too. You never know what you're walking into. Like, you hope it's going to be cool and you hope it's going to be collaborative, but sometimes you're just a side guy. You just never really know how that's going to be, right?
Yeah, I think there's also, you have to learn how to read the room. I think like since the beginning, it's like, okay, let me understand, because for me, I'm not being American and being in the middle of the middle of Tennessee, like everything was very new,
Yeah,
new people, new band, different country, um, not
working
LA or
with
New
working with
York,
different producers, all that stuff,
different
right?
producers, and the whole thing, But at the same time, it's like, okay, I can see how can I have my 20 something years of experience in this business. It's not that I'm kid, I'm just starting. I've been
Right.
doing this forever, and I travel the world.
And
I
you're
know how
from
it
a
works.
well-established band as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So, and then also, like, what can I bring from my experience? Because now I have a different, 2 things. Or you feel intimidated because you don't know anything. It's like everything is different, and you feel intimidated. Or you say, look, I'm from a different place. I have a completely different experience. Uh, and I gotta bring the good stuff from my different experience, to add to this amazing band. Because
Right.
what can I say? Because they're already successful, they
Right.
already know
Exactly.
how to do their stuff. So who am I to say something? But I can bring another perspective,
Yeah.
because also I'm a fan, and I can see it from the perspective of a fan, or
Mhm.
a metal fan, and a fan that also is a professional.
Yeah. And
I mean,
you want the
I'm
band
a
to be
fan of the
successful.
style,
Yeah. Right.
you know.
Sure.
And then yeah, so, and I can write songs, and I know music. I dedicated my life to understand the harmony and the scales and the structures of the songs, and everything about music. I know a lot. I can say I know a lot. And
Yeah.
then
And
and
it
I
obviously,
use this.
yeah, it did work because you got the Grammy. So, and I'm
Yeah,
not,
yeah,
it's
well,
not just the
yes.
Grammy, but I'm saying, like, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the Grammy is a good, is a good whatever, like
yeah. Stamp of approval. Yeah.
stamp of
Exactly.
approval from the industry, for your peers, which is
Exactly. Yeah.
great. But also the fans, they love the album. But also, I mean, knowing music doesn't mean you're gonna get a Grammy. Like otherwise, I think the Grammy winners would be a different, different
Exactly.
winners. But
Yeah, that's true.
I think when you know music and you have a different experience, you also a fan, you know the industry, you can give some ideas or inputs that it comes from a different place. That's what I mean. What I mean,
Right. Gotcha.
not coming from from, it's just different. I think it's different. You
Yeah.
have a different culture. That's why it's a lot of tech companies, they hire people from different countries, and because give is only that combination of 10 people from different cultures or different places, the final product would be suitable for the entire world.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know what I
Yeah.
mean? So because you have
Yeah.
a little bit of
It
everything.
brings a broader perspective, which is
Yeah, I
important.
think, and I always felt a bit like that in Megadeth.
Mhm.
Like, what can I bring that, you know, they, they, they're not seen from this perspective, you know?
Right. Yeah. And I mean, and you had how long were you with them? It was like 8 years, right?
8 years, yeah, eight,
Yeah.
9, yeah. There's a
Um,
lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, and that's a lot of touring too, because you're
Yeah.
releasing albums touring every year, right? Pretty
Yeah,
much.
totally. A lot of
Yeah.
concerts, a lot of the two albums is not only the recording but creating. So I went to Dave's house and like just playing riffs and playing guitar stuff and showing him like, oh, what about this? These are
Yeah,
lots
right.
of stuff, like putting out a lot of stuff and then trying to understand also what is Megadeth, you know, also, So I think that's why you read the room, you try to understand what is Megadeth, like the band, not who is Dave, what he likes. Then also this is
Right.
important, but what the band represents, the whole
Yeah.
catalog. So of course, touring and meeting the fans from different countries, um, getting to know all the crew, getting to know the guys from the band on tour, because then you get even more personal. Helped a lot also to understand the band, listening to the stories. Yeah, from
Yeah. And that's, I mean, that
of
band
the
is
band.
obviously it's his baby, it's his child. So
Oh yeah.
that's a very, that's a very potentially touchy situation because, like you say, reading the room, seeing where everybody's positions and how you're going to fit in, right, as a new
Hmm.
puzzle piece,
Yeah,
is always a challenge for musicians trying to sort that, trying to figure out how that's going to work.
totally. Yeah, yeah. It's basically shut up and listen. So that would be my advice first. Just listen, look and listen, and like, and then always think like, how can I bring something to the table, an idea or something that helps them, you know,
Right.
and not taking anything from the band, but just bringing something.
Yeah.
And then it's
Being
all
a
in any situation this is gonna work, and then you try one idea, so like, oh no, this is not really no. And then, but if you have um, this attitude of like bringing things, ideas to help, um, your ideas start to be accepted.
right.
I mean, considered, not accepted, but considered, right? Okay, let's. Kiko has an idea. Okay, let's listen. Okay, oh, that's yeah, good. Not not really Megadeth, because the thing is, the ideas in the creative process is more like, it's not the ideas are good or bad. It's like the idea fits or not to what
Right.
we want,
Does
you
it
know,
serve the purpose of the band?
and
And
the purpose of the band. So
yeah.
so I was understanding that, and then Dave was giving some tips here and there. So we have also to learn how to read Dave's mind, which is very interesting. I think that's because I think I'm a creative person too. Dave is even more, how do I say, like imaginative,
Hmm.
cinematic, photographic,
Right.
references. It's not about
It's not
play this
just it's
note.
not just let's just shred. It's not that.
It's
It's
not a
broader.
shred or like play the
Right.
F sharp with this G. What? It's not that.
Yeah.
It's like, do you know Clint Eastwood movie, that scene?
Yeah.
I
Right.
want to riff like that.
Yeah. Right.
So like,
Exactly.
how can you? Oh, yeah.
You have to be an interpreter, right?
So exactly. So
Yeah.
so Dave talks a lot like that. It's like images and movies and references, like from from completely different things.
Mm.
TV stuff, or like a ad from the past. Some stuff I didn't know. Right. So maybe he was like, oh, do you know this whatever actor? Or he used to do like this ad on TV in whatever 70s. All
Right.
right. So like, I don't know.
Yeah. You
First,
have to be.
because we have a different, 10 years different. I mean, I think I'm 10 years younger than him, or something like that. And then also,
Sure.
I didn't grow up in the US, so a lot of stuff I don't know. I don't know nothing about American football. I don't know nothing about baseball. I
Maybe
don't
you're
know,
better
I
off.
don't know. I know a lot about soccer.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Sure.
so, but the references sometimes, like, but I was like, okay, show me.
Yeah. You figured out.
Like,
Yeah.
go YouTube. It's like, what's this? And it's like, oh, he likes this, and then I have to translate this into music because, or he likes this because, or maybe that scale gives that feeling, or that rhythm gives that feeling. What
Right. It's
what is
finding the
giving
vibe.
that feeling?
Yeah.
To give that vibe, and then hey Dave, what about this? You know, it's like the song that I did the classical guitar. I was always with my classical guitar because I think it's something that I like to play, and I think it's a plus that I can bring. And and then Dave came like, Kiko, have something, create something, just eruption. It's like eruption from Van Halen. So like, you want me to create something just like eruption? That's a high bar, you know?
Yeah, right.
It's like
No pressure.
the best guitar piece ever
Right.
written. But and then it's like, man, like eruption. I don't know. Then I thought my eruption would be if I can play something nice in the nylon guitar, and then go to the electric guitar and do a solo. And I was thinking a lot of Randy Rhoads because it's like
Right.
it's a metal, classy, etc. Right. So that was in my mind. 8 years later, or like 7 years later, actually, Dave was referring to Spanish Fly,
Okay.
which is a nylon string
Yeah.
Van Halen piece.
Okay.
But
I
he was
got you.
like,
Yeah.
so yeah. But anyways, we got to the same place. Although he said eruption, and then I thought about the classical guitar because that's my instrument. But he was thinking about Spanish Fly, and I was thinking, wow, I'm thinking Randy Rhoads because Randy Rhoads had the classical guitar aspect as well.
Right.
The
And
Fire of Madman,
melodic. Yeah.
D, and all those pieces. Yeah. So anyway, so it's like learning how to
Interesting.
read those comments, musical comments. But I was in a band with creative people as well, and we always talked like that
Yeah.
as well.
That's
Images,
awesome. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's like getting away from just the technical aspect of playing, but really being broader and having
Exactly.
like the visualization really helps, and it helps open your playing, maybe try different things. And it's awesome that Dave is, like I said, open to that and open to getting input from other players. That's, and he has quite a history obviously too, so that and Megadeth does as well. Let's talk about your solo album and Theory of Mind. So that came out in October. I was checking it out over the last couple of days. I just, like I mentioned, I really love the melody approach and the melodic. There's shredding in there too, which we all love as well, of course. But tell me, when did you decide to really focus on doing a solo project? And I know you've done a few over the years, but what really motivated you to kind of go down that road?
I just like it. I do what I like, you know. So that's my sixth album, right? A solo album. So this album, I started composing, creating. Even the drums were recorded during my tours in Megadeth. So it's in between the tours. So it's not like a project that Kiko left Megadeth and now he's doing his solo stuff. I was doing already. I did Open Source was the one I released in 2020. Was during the Megadeth years. So I remember telling you know, Dave is like, oh, you have a solo album. So like, yeah, it's like, but it's better. It's better that I do my own. That's the way I always thought. And I told
yeah, you need the release of that too, right?
I think like first I can do stuff that it's not Megadeth. And second is, I mean, it's my thing that I do in between the Megadeth stuff. So it's not that I'm playing another band and then suddenly it's gonna conflicting dates and stuff like that.
Right.
It's just no. When I'm at home, I don't do anything else than playing. So I come home, I keep playing or composing. I'm exercising the stuff. So it was all cool to do that. So I was doing in between. It's way slower. It's a slower process, of course, if you're doing an album in between tours. So then after the Megadeth, then I finished all the guitars and then start checking the artworks, videos and all that.
All the stuff.
Then I released this year, and yes, it's something that I like. I always liked those instrumental guitar albums. Is a way that I can express myself. It's a little bit more, has more freedom in a way that I can go to different places harmonically, melodically, stylistically. It's not a band, that you kind of have to be inside that square of a band, any band.
Right, because there's a box they have to kind of fit into a little bit.
Band is like that,
Yeah,
Otherwise it's like, Dream Theater or like a super prog band which is even Angra has it was pretty open, but some kind of songs you need to do it because the band is a band, and then you have to play some
Yeah, you have fans that have expectations of the music.
expectation. You can be
Yeah.
like ACDC, like very, smaller square, let's say. You can be more like Dream Theater or Yes, a bit, bigger square, but still a square. You know,
Right.
uh, as an artist, like as an individual artist, I think in general you have more space. If you think about the jazz players, Pat Metheny or Chick Corea, or if you think about even like Lady Gaga, she might have
Right.
she sang with Metallica, and then she sings with Tony Bennett, and then she does like, I don't know, an EDM song or something like
Yeah.
that.
Just
Because
musicians, not trying to categorize themselves. Right.
exactly, so
Yeah.
it's even better for some solo artists to keep changing, playing with different people, so they because it's very hard to change yourself, so you
Right.
change the
Correct.
environment,
Yeah.
right? You change the musicians around you, you change the styles, you have different collaborations, so it's a way for you to evolve as a artist as well.
Mm. Yeah. Do you think is collaboration really important for you in that process, especially doing the solo albums, or do you have like a really defined idea of what you want to do going into the studio?
Yeah, I love to play the guys. Bruno is the drummer and Felipe the bass player. Like great musicians, of course. Like the collaboration of and Adair was the producer. So of course, working with great people around you, and of course the artwork and the photos of the album. This is all
And
all, all
music
great.
videos too, right?
The music videos,
Yeah.
so every everybody involved. In the end, you have a lot of people involved in the project. Um, but yeah, the main idea, the songs, that's basically what I envision or what I want to do, whatever comes from my fingers, or sometimes electric guitar, acoustic guitar, piano, computer.
Yeah, all the
So
stuff.
yeah,
And so do you usually like you when you're going to do your solo record, you demo everything out and give it to the
yes,
guys, or do you? Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I was demoing with Adair, the producer. So we're like creating the stuff. It's already like with using the Superior drummer, who's like electronic drums, right?
Right. Right.
And you kind of have the the base of the what you imagine for the drums. And then
Mhm.
I record all the guitars, put some keyboards, all the solos and melodies. So the demos are almost like the album.
Right. And then the
Actually,
guys.
Megadeth album was like that too. The
Ah.
Megadeth, the Sick, the Dying, the Dead. The demos was like the album, pretty
Wow.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's.
Nowadays
I
you
mean,
can do that.
that saves you a lot of money and time too. When you're, especially, I mean, a solo project's a little bit easier, but it's still being prepared. That's super important too, going into the studio, right?
Yes, yes. So it helps a lot to have the demo. It's like it's pros and cons, right? So when you have those demos and you spend a lot of time the demos, you keep changing a lot because you can,
Right.
right? It's just in the computer. You come next day, open the session is there,
Yeah.
and then you keep revolving the things and trying different stuff. So it might take more time, and then you might go to the first idea because in the end it was the best idea. Uh, but it helps when it helps you to record remotely, you
Mm.
know, as well, because then you can send the demos, the person can practice the songs and be ready to record instead of like trying to create stuff and using studio time, which is super expensive.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And that's the advantage of the modern day where you can send stuff that most guys now have a home studio set up, especially
exactly,
drummers. And
exactly.
yeah, it saves a lot of time and money, like you say. And so
They
what
can
are
send. They could do like they can send back. Let's say you send like some drums, electronic drums, pre-programmed drums, and then they play for real in their studio, and then now you have your demo with the real drums, and then you tweak a bit more the songs, so like you have the demos like pretty good,
yeah,
almost to a place that like maybe just release this, but then you don't want to do that because when you recorded the guitars, you didn't have new strings, you're not really careful about the intonation of the guitar and all that.
right, yeah.
So you have to go back and re-record everything. So this time, sometimes you're like, I'm re-recording everything, but now you're losing something
Yeah.
because
It's
the
tricky.
vibe
Right.
is
It's
tricky.
tricky. Yeah, yeah.
It's not too clean, it's too perfect. And I
Yeah.
kind of like that, the original solo. And this happens. I remember the Dystopia album, there's one solo there, which is the solo from my practicing. I recorded some practicing things, like trying some solos. And one I really liked, and I tried to copy that solo on the studio, and I was not able. It's like, and I remember
Yeah.
the Dave came to the room. What are you guys doing? It's like, I'm trying to play this solo from my demos there when I was. It's like, well, no, it sounds great. The solo, just use the solo. So we kind of reamp the solo, and that's it.
Oh,
So
funny. Yeah.
yes, and then in the open source, one of my albums, it was the same. I couldn't really get the same vibe,
Mm.
and then might as well use the solo from the demo.
Yeah. I mean,
Why
you know
not?
what? And you hear that story like all the time where they came in, cut a
Yeah,
song in 10 minutes, and that's the hit.
I think there's like a Bruce Springsteen album that's like the whole
Exactly. Yeah.
demo, right?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
demo. He
Yeah.
released the demo. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That there's like Phil Collins had done that. There's like a bunch of stories with that. Like, oh, I just put a
because
drum machine, you know.
because that 10%, whatever it is, 20%, 5%, that extra
Yeah.
is the emotion from the moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then like you cannot get back. You're having a certain feeling that you're having the idea that day, that moment. That's like AI cannot do that,
Yeah. Right.
which is
Yeah.
basically the name of my album, Theory of Mind.
Mm.
You didn't ask that, but I will answer anyways. So the name of the album, the name of the album. So I was like, so the last year, like during the process of should I stay Megadeth? I'm touring too much. I want to stay home. I have like my kids. I want to be like seeing what's going on with my,
Yeah, and I
my
should say your wife is a very well-known keyboard player in Finland. That's why you're living in Finland.
exactly.
And you have your
Yeah.
children. So go ahead.
Yeah. I have my children. And then it's like, I have to go to school and the teacher is complaining about the, whatever. So like, and then, okay. So the kids need some help. I want to stay more at home to be a good father, right? And I
Yeah.
was like, the touring, like I want to be posing like a rock star, but your kid needs you at home. What's like this was getting heavy in my mind,
Yeah.
heavier and heavier
Because
throughout the
you
year.
don't get those early years back
You
with
don't
your
get those
kids.
years back, and I know I
Right.
can tour. It's like whatever. I did a lot, 30 years of touring. Uh, I think so. Dave was cool. He was like, Kiko, you can bring your kid to the tour, but it's like, it's not going to help.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Not a
So
good idea.
yeah, but it's like, can offer,
But that's
can try.
cool. Yeah, it's cool
Yeah.
that he's willing to do that.
Anyways, like the guys from the band, James and Dave, like, their fathers as well. And they've been there, so they were giving me advice, but I was like, well, so I was like, thinking a lot. So throughout the process of thinking, and I was like creating the music, right?
Mm.
And then I was like, I heard this term, theory of mind. It's a psychological term when the capability of the human being to understand the others, the feeling of others, right? So if you tell me if you're sad, I understand what sadness
Right.
means.
Empathy. Yeah.
It's like the empathy, but in a deeper meaning. So it's a psychological term, and I need to understand this because that's what's happening at home. So okay, let's check that. So interesting term. So then, but I wanted to talk about AI. So in the music side, a lot of AI going on, talking about AI. There's going to
Right.
disrupt
Yep.
the market, the music, blah blah blah, and the whole thing. You don't need to do anything else because AI is going to do everything for us. Okay, great. So I was like reading about AI. Maybe that's a good thing to talk or name of the songs. And suddenly I found like the last kind of AI will be the theory of when AI passed the tests of theory of mind. So when AI, the higher level of AI is when AI can understand how you feel. So the answers and then the prompts you give is based on, it's going to understand your feelings. And then I thought, wow, this like connects so well. And I really love the term theory of mind, with a psychological term, but also is like is a term connected to the AI.
Yeah. Speaking about modern times and what we're dealing with as
Exactly.
musicians as well, too, right?
Exactly. So that's I thought it was a great name for the album, and then everything was involved. So the name of the songs, and I started writing some texts really about the songs, and then how I feel about the songs and why I created those songs connected to that theory of mind, which is basically the empathy, how you feel, and then
Mm,
nothing better than music to represent that, right?
yeah.
Because
To bring it all
music is
together. Yeah.
yeah, because music is the art that we cannot touch, we cannot see, but you can feel. It's
Yeah.
all about the feeling,
Existential, like, but
right?
it's so important with our existence, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's all connected. For me, so it's like
Mm,
this epiphany is like everything connects.
yeah.
And
And
then
that's good. Like you say, like you've done touring, you've done this album or these records with this band, very famous band, but then you also have your own voice and
totally,
you want to get your own voice out there in the world, right?
yes, yes, yes. And then it's like, I mean, if you go back to the early days when I was doing biology university,
Mm.
so I was like 19, and then I decided to be a guitar player, play metal from
Yeah,
Brazil.
your
Like that's
parents are
the
probably
worst.
thrilled.
It's like, and so like I decided that. So like, I mean, that's so why not now? It's kind of the
Mm.
same thing. It's like, okay, here I
Yeah,
am.
it's kind of an
Let's go and
extension,
try.
right?
Let's keep doing this. You know, believe now that's how I feel that what
Mm.
I want to do. You know, and I think I can learn more about music and try new things. You never know. You know, just it's an open space. You know, like a blank canvas, in
Mm.
a way. My heroes in music, they go beyond the Rich Blackmores and the Jeff Beck. You know, they go to the classical music, to the flamenco, to the other stuff. You know, so the John Williams and everything. So why not open a blank canvas? And also to be, I did some touring this year already with my name. And it was cool, like being like a kind of a front man kind of thing. So it was really good feeling as well, And
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
all, I'm all
it's
about
your yeah, it's your next step in life, which is okay. You don't have to
yeah.
be stuck into one thing. And
Yeah, but also, if somebody invites me to play in a cool band, I will always consider, because I like music,
yeah,
If somebody invites me to write a score for a movie, I can
mm,
consider it as well, or like a video game music or something like that.
yeah.
Um, People tell me that my song would fit better, great for video game stuff. It's like
Well,
okay,
you've got the Angry Birds guys in Helsinki. So,
totally have those Supercell, yeah,
yeah,
Supercell,
yeah,
Angry Birds, and
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
I did a solo for the Fortnite with the
Ah,
guys from Periphery and Derek.
awesome. Yeah.
We did a song there. Yeah.
Let me so let me ask you because you have such a broad knowledge and experience. What's a really big important advice for young players, young musicians that you would give, like things that you've learned along the way? I know that's a big question, but
It's a big question, and then it's a different times, right? I think
mm,
when I started, I don't think it was easier. I think it's easier now. It doesn't sound like, but I think it's easier now than it was when I started. Mainly when I come from, and then mainly when I started like professionally, it came the grunge era, which kind of changed the whole scene of the music that I was coming, that I was practicing, studying, like all these guitar solos, all those metal bands, right? They suddenly like was a big uh, rupture, right? Or like a
mm,
disruption. Um, I think, I mean, the dedication to your craft would be the first is basic stuff, but some people forget. So if you're a singer, if you're a guitar player, if you want to compose, I think you have to practice and dedicate time to your instrument. Because if you play well, if you're good writing songs or playing or singing, I mean, you're always going to find space, right? Um, Also, that we talked about to be a person, a good person to be around, right? I don't know how you can learn this, but I mean, you can do the basic stuff with like taking showers and, uh,
yeah, like
I
listening
mean,
to people.
listening to people is like, okay, here, that's how people dress here, that people, people here pretty clean. So, things like that. People here is pretty quiet. They don't say this kind of words in this place. Whatever. Understand where you are and who you are, and then read the room, as we said, and be a good person to be around. Be always educate yourself, reading books and watching interesting stuff. Just don't be like that guy that doesn't know anything, because I think the more interesting person you are, it's easier to get along with other people, and then also to be working with other people.
Yeah,
So
just
if a good,
being a
yeah,
musician is not just enough, right? You've got to be you
yeah,
need to
I
have
think,
you need to be a broad human being to
yeah.
bring something.
But yeah, so and then you have like this thing of be very dedicated to your craft, and also to the, if you want to be a professional musician, um, that's a different story. Because I think everybody should know a little bit of music,
Mhm.
should learn instrument, or have some contact with music, to make music, to make art. This is one thing. But if you want to be a professional, you have to take it as any profession. It's like this is like 9 a.m., 8 a.m. Monday morning.
Right.
It's not like something you do like a Friday night, or Saturday, weekends. It's like you want this to be your job. It's your job. So okay,
Yeah.
sit down and work. What? Okay, now it's like, after you listen to this, what are you gonna do for your career? You know, right? So like, you're gonna send emails. You're gonna write a song. You're gonna check whatever other bands from your style, what they're doing, what's happening, whatever it is, contacts, networking, going to practice your instrument, or learn things that you don't know, like production. Or nowadays you have to know about social media, and have to know about production, have to know a little bit of uh, making videos, etc. What's the new trends, or whatever it is. And also understand the industry, I think, is very important. I didn't have that in the beginning, and I was curious a bit to understand the music business. Who is who? What is publishing? What an
Right.
agent does? What a manager does? What is a booking agent? Whatever, like um, what BMI or ASCAP? What is
All that
this?
stuff. They're
All
right.
this
Yeah.
stuff, and on top and on top of knowing your instrument, or harmony, technique, melody, or if you want to be a songwriter, and okay, so how can I publish my songs? Um, like getting educated in the music business a bit, uh, um, merchandising, what's how the bands, check the strategies of the bands, of the artists, what they're doing, how they're
Yeah.
releasing
How
their
they're
albums,
surviving. Right.
how they're surviving the stories, but what they're doing now, like bands that are like you can check the big bands, the big artists, the billions of subscribers and plays and stuff, but also bands that are like 5 times bigger than your band, or 10 times bigger, you know, not 100 times bigger. Then you can learn what they're doing, or people that are already in the market, learn with
Mhm.
them,
Yep.
get some mentorship. I have a mentorship group that I help people doing that too. I have a guitar academy that's more like towards the guitar side, and writing songs, and being a good musician. But also I have this kind of a mentorship that I guide people to the best decision
Mhm.
at their.
How can people find that group?
That they can go to my Instagram, like you have the link in bio, for instance. You can go there, or
Okay.
to my website, KikoLoureiro.com, and you find the Guitar Academy, the mentorship link there.
Awesome.
And then it's a fun thing. It's like I have a meeting every other week. I have a small group that I meet, and then check what they're doing. And it's not a lesson. It's more like
Yeah.
about the person, what the person
Right. Yeah.
wants, or
As a
even find what the person wants. One
as a
thing that
human, not
is,
just a musician.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's not like a guitar lesson is a guitar lesson. Oh, here's the scale,
Sure.
and practice the scale. But when you're talking about the career, it's like, what do you want to do? What kind of music
Mhm.
you like? What's your goals? Or uh, what's this? You don't do you have songs? Do you have a band? You want to have a YouTube channel. You want to have a podcast. You want to have Instagram. You want to
Mhm.
tour. You want to be a composer. You want to write music for video games. So many possibilities. You want to have
Right.
a guitar brand to contact you, for you to do videos for as a specialist of some equipment, gear talk kind of thing. So
Sure.
there's many ways in the industry. So you discuss with the person,
That's great.
and then you see also you help the person to take those decisions.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
You
so
you
it's
can
not
you can
easy.
kind of see, maybe give them a pathway, which is because
And then
it's
also the reality, the
yeah,
reality.
right.
Oh, you want to tour all world? Oh, yeah. Okay. So let me show how it works. And that is, sometimes it's like this cold,
Tough
cold.
love.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's important
Yeah,
because
yeah,
that
absolutely.
like, and then one thing that happens sometimes also for people that plays and wants to be professional, they are, and I had a little bit of that too. They are not sure about being a musician. And then
Mhm.
you can see by the way they talk about their craft, about their art, the way they post online, things how they share their life online. So how they share their stuff online, they not real clear like, hey, I'm a guitar player. Here's all my videos. Some people they don't have that,
Right.
and then for me it's a sign that they're not comfortable of the society seeing them as an artist. It's
Yeah.
like it's a deeper level. So sometimes you can even talk about that, and then the person is like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, okay. So first of all, you tell you yourself that you want to be a musician. So now everything is about your band or your guitar, and then everything you talk about and you show to people is about that. You
Yeah.
know,
And maybe write out your goals. It's all that stuff. Like,
all that stuff.
people
Yeah,
think, oh, I'm just going to practice 12 hours a day. I'm like, that's part of it, but that's
that's
only
part
one
of it.
part of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Because it comes a time that if you practice a lot and you might be better than the famous people, let's say the people that are actually working, and you're like, you know what, I play better than these people. Why
Yeah.
these people are touring and I'm not? And then you might get angry or like kind of bitter
Frustrated.
about that,
Yeah. Yeah.
frustrated, because and you're against the music industry.
Yeah.
Because but to be in the music industry is not about only the instruments. It's like discovering that back door that you can go backstage and go on stage, or to discover that door that opens up the studio, and then
Mhm.
and people invite you to play there, or to have the courage to finance your own art in the beginning, like I did with my solo albums. There's no record label. I just went
Yeah.
there. It's like, here's the money. Hey, hey, Mike Tirana, the drummers. Hey, here's how much do you charge? Producer, studio, how much? Yeah, instead of buying a car, it's like I want to have an album.
Yeah. Well, that's it. And
That that
it's your
kind of
art. Yeah.
attitude.
Yeah.
Instead of a trip to whatever Hawaii, it's like I want to, or instead of buying my fifth guitar,
Yeah.
I want to put out a single.
Although you can never have enough guitars, but but what
I
you're
I
saying is
disagree
true.
with that. I disagree with that. I think that you have to find a balance. Like if you want to be a musician,
Mm,
you have to find a balance of also put your art, because we know I respect everybody that collects guitar, because I have like over 100 guitars. So I'm not the right guy to say don't buy guitars,
sure.
but I do also put my albums out
Mm,
and my music out, and then you can get to know me not for how many guitars I have,
right.
but the guitar, the what I play, my music,
Yeah.
right? And then I think that's very important, even for non-professional musicians that has few guitars, they have a home studio. Why not trying to make your own music or record your music and live the experience of being a musician? So
Yeah.
we talk about this in the mentorship. I have like lots of non-professional musicians there,
Mm,
also like let's live the experience of being a musician for real. Go to
yeah.
the studio, record. Is a lot of suffering. Is not a hobby anymore,
Mm,
because when you have to write a song or record and fix all the mistakes to the record to sound good, it's a lot of effort. It's
yeah. And you're kind of bearing your soul to the world too, right?
exactly a
Takes
lot of
takes
people.
some bravery. Yeah.
Oh, totally is a suffering moment. It's like, who am I?
Exactly.
I don't deserve to be exposed like that. It's like a running naked in the middle of
Right.
Times
Exactly.
Square
Yeah.
or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it takes bravery, and it just to choose music as your career is not. It's not. I always say if you can't dissuade somebody from doing it, that's the only time they should probably really try, because it's
Hmm.
not gonna it's not
Yeah.
gonna be easy. But it's also a very rewarding thing, even if you don't make a lot of money and if you're not famous, but still you're doing your art. You're that's your truth, right?
That's the first thing. Like most of musicians, they don't do it because of the money. I would say like 99.99%. They might do at some point in their career later, you know, but I don't think they don't start. Nobody. I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know any that well, I'm doing this. I'm doing this for the money. They don't do it for the money
Right.
because if you look around, you have other professions that gives you more money, you know. So and then right away, you do this, you get this money. In music, you don't know.
Yeah.
So
It's a gamble. Yeah.
it's way more complicated. So when when you start making music, you make it it's because it's so strong
Mm.
that you just want to do it.
Yeah.
That was
It
my
grabs your
case.
soul. Yeah.
It was so strong, and then you just want to do it. And then a little bit later, a few weeks later, whatever, you was like, okay, I have to find a way to make money, or maybe I give some lessons. Maybe, well, this guy, I'm gonna make the show. I'm gonna charge a little bit more because and I'm bringing my equipment. I need to buy my, It's like so you start learning, and then you learn about the industry. Okay, percentage here, whatever. What else can I do? So I can do albums, I can play with a band, or can have my band, I can do guitar clinics, I can give some lessons, I can
Mm.
write songs from other people, whatever. I can sell merch, I
Yeah.
can, you know, uh, talk about guitars, in a guitar store or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Find a way to survive. And then you also, when you have
yeah,
a family brings another pressure.
oh yeah, I'm talking even before, like you can have a YouTube channel, you can, whatever. So then you start like figuring out how I can keep doing art
Mm.
and finance my own art to be my own mecenas and support myself and later to support my family, whatever other expenses you might
Sure.
have in life. So like have to pay for yourself. You might have to support your kids, your family, and then you have to pay for your own art. You're like reinvest in your own career, right? And then hopefully has like a little bit left because you never know the future.
True.
so
Yeah.
so but that's later. So and of course when you meet the successful people, of course then they will be way more into the business side,
Mm.
because now they understood the industry, how it works. They don't want to be taking the smaller percentage of the pie, right?
Yeah.
So you learn how to, okay, that's this amount of money in this on this
All
table.
that
So
stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I want to get a good percent of this money. But in the
Sure.
beginning, it's more about
Your passion
where
and your, yeah.
it's about the passion. Like, can I do this and survive? You know, if it's
Mm.
already, can I get the same? It's like, can I, instead of have this work at Starbucks, can I just play gigs and get the same money as this, like working in Starbucks or whatever,
Whatever. Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
Home Depot, So can I do that? So that's is already a win. If you don't have a normal job and you can make music
Yeah. And you're
with the
doing
same,
what you love. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think it starts there, and then it's like, oh, but I need to record another album. I would love to have that producer. I would love to go to that place. I'd love to have this photographer. Oh, this is gonna cost a little bit more money.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how can I
It's
make
kind of never ending.
it never ending? You know.
That's
So
okay. I mean, that's why we're here, right? We're here to explore and try new
yeah, but
things.
then
And
like the non-professionals, right? They have a great career. Like in the mentorship, I have several people like that. So they have their money, their career, and then instead of buying more equipment, or why not? Like now you can buy the experience of great players,
mm,
producers, and stuff like that, and have something well recorded and nice, and put yourself um, around professionals, and
yeah,
that's just like a professional, an artist would do, because any band, any big band, they don't hire any people. They hire great producers, great photographers,
sure.
etc.
Yeah.
Right? So everybody's surrounded by great producers and great professionals.
Mm. Yeah.
So
And
if
you
you
want,
have
I
the
mean,
money to pay,
yeah. And they help you carry out your vision, which is ultimately that's the
exactly,
most important part of being
exactly.
an artist is kind of your truth and your vision and bringing that, having something to show for that at the end of the day. Um, Kiko, so you mentioned your website. Can you give us that address one more time?
Okay, so that's my name.com. I know my name is like, it's kind of difficult sometimes, but
We
Kiko,
were talking about
Kiko,
that. Yeah.
Loureiro.com. And
Mm.
then you can find, like the links for my new album, the merch store with the vinyls. We did the whole package, you
Yeah.
know, picture disc, vinyls, different colors,
Awesome.
CDs, signed, have the signed CDs, signed stuff is always good. Also the mentorship, and then the Guitar Academy for the ones that like music. I always kind of, I started my, in the very beginning, you have to give some lessons. You get some cash, right? To
Yeah,
buy new
sure.
guitars, when I was 16, 17. And I always liked the academic side of music. Um, so I like to teach
Awesome.
metal and rock and guitar from the heart, from
Mm.
creating music, but also from the technical aspect, and also from the academic side, the names, the harmonies, the whole thing. So the My Guitar Academy is like that. It's a group of amazing people that wants to get to know more about guitar and music through rock and metal,
Yeah.
right?
Awesome. Well, like you mentioned too, you're also giving some kind of counseling a little bit and support, which is super important. And that's awesome because somebody with your background, you have such a broad range of knowledge that, they can trust what you're saying is absolutely dead on, which is
Yeah,
it's
I'm very
important.
direct.
Yeah, it's
I
important.
was like, yeah, no, there's no, I'm not like selling the dream. I don't sell the dream. I mean, I have to keep the dreams, of course, but you
Absolutely.
don't
Yeah.
like, oh, you're gonna, how to make 1 million in 2 weeks. No, it's like the reality of the industry, and like, let's figure out the best way for you to navigate this industry if you wanna be a professional musician,
Yeah,
or
make a living or
just wanna,
survive. Yeah.
yeah, if you just wanna record your single, and it's like, hey, yeah, I have so many cool examples there, that like the people recording their one song or three songs, and then, for them,
Yeah.
or
That's awesome. You know what? That's a huge thing for people.
it is,
And
yeah,
you
it
get
is,
it's
it is
like
for
it's
me.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
still for me. For me, it's like that. I feel so happy with the album, not
Mm,
because I'm amazing or not like that. It's like you make something. It's
yeah.
like
It's
bake a
it's your
cake. I don't
it's your
make any cake, but
yeah.
it's like you bake a cake. It's like
It's
everybody's eating. Everybody, you make a pizza at home. It's like, oh, the pizza is great. So it's like that feeling, like, oh, thank you.
yeah, but it's sort of like giving birth to a child, right? It's your
I well,
baby out there.
yeah, we don't know. We don't know how that feels, but
Yeah. Well,
making a pizza, I know.
we can
So
only imagine.
we can imagine. But it's like, is a year of work.
Yeah,
It's
right.
a year
Sure.
of struggling. Like, is this good? Is this good? Can I do it better? Like, it's like you're never satisfied, or like it's painful.
Mm,
But then it's like, okay, that's my best. Here it is. Listen, and people say like, oh, so cool. I like it. It's melodic. It's this or that. Or I like that. So it's great. It's a great feeling. But even if people say I don't like that, because of course I have the people that I don't like this guitar music, instrumental music. Where's the
yeah.
vocals? And then uh, it's fine. It's not for you. I'm happy either way.
Yeah.
It's
That's how,
like,
but
uh,
that you shouldn't, when you do art, you shouldn't be worried about how people are going to like it. You just do it. That's true for you.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
I mean, I've learned that over the years. That's the most important thing. It's like doing the podcast. Some people like it, some people don't. That's okay. But you do it
Exactly.
the best of your ability, and you try to do something that's interesting and valid. And then
Hmm.
the world decides.
Exactly. And you find the people that like that. I think that's the beautiful thing of the internet.
Right.
You always
Exactly.
find the 1,000 fans that will like your stuff, that and they will help you to grow, with their comments, because I think that's the greatest thing of the internet, is that you can hear the voice of all those people that
Mm,
support you, and also comment about things that can be better, and then you analyze. It's like, oh, no, I'm doing
yeah.
like this because I want like this. I know
Right.
it might not please some people, but sometimes the comments are great. They give ideas as well. So, or
Yeah.
they listen your music, and they say something about how they feel about the music. It's like so satisfying.
Yeah. And
You know,
I mean, that's why you do it, right? Not so much for comments, but to get it out there and let people listen and see your art, and they decide whatever they decide. But you've made the effort to get it out there. And there is a bravery thing to that, I think. especially
totally.
when you come from really famous bands, you're stepping out on your own, and like you said, doing solo shows. That's just the maybe the natural progression of how things should be, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, it's not
Mm.
so easy to, yeah. Well, to go on stage, some people they it's tough. I love being on stage, but it's like you're already there. You went to that city, you did a sound check, so there's no way to go back, right? So she was like, go on stage and do it. And then in the beginning, I might feel like a bit anxious or nervous, and then you learn how.
But it should. It makes you
And
alive. You're alive. That's
yeah, yeah. And then it's like at some points, like, okay, is a cold shower, do it. And that is good. At some points, like, oh, I like that feeling,
yeah,
you know, and that, and then you 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 need that feeling.
right.
It's like,
It's
it's
like
like,
it's like a addiction. Yeah.
and then it's like, I want to go on stage. So that's one thing. And the same goes with creating music. That when you start playing, and then you play something that you like, it's like, oh,
Mm,
I just played this. This is cool. And I keep playing that thing. It's like, oh, I think I have a good idea here. And then you keep developing that, and then you find like your phone, or you turn on the computer and record that idea because you don't want to lose that idea. And then you come back later, and then you keep working on that idea, and then suddenly you have a song, and
yeah.
then you think about the arrangement, and then you re-record that idea properly, and then you add some keyboards and solos, whatever, and
Yeah.
then and
It's
then
cool,
that
because I can see that still excites you, and I think that's really awesome.
a lot,
Like,
a
yeah,
lot.
because after
Be-
after however many years and however many,
30 something years, but
yeah.
uh actually, so now I released this new album, and then I'm writing songs now a lot.
Mm.
Not, I mean, I'm trying to write not a lot of songs, but I'm like in that mood,
Yeah, you're in the frame
because
of it, right?
yeah, it's like I want to be creative.
Yeah.
Because before I was like, okay, the release date and the whatever upload and the Instagram, whatever, like
Right.
all this promotion is stuff.
Release tour. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then it's like, no, I need to have my time to think about music, uh, and that is a great place to be mentally. Like it's like a meditation. You sit down, piano, guitar, start playing, and see an idea comes, and and then the more you do it, you feel more confident about how to manage those creative sparks,
Mm.
how to use them, and how to guide them to something useful.
Yeah.
You know,
And we get gifts too from, you say, from God, from wherever, that you, like you say, like when you get that gift, you want to like capsulate it and keep it so you don't lose it in the
yeah,
moment. Um,
yeah.
I want to say thank you so much for joining me. It's really awesome to talk with you. You have such a huge knowledge and really interesting background. And I think it's great the message that you're sharing about being not only just a guitar player, just a shredder, but a full fleshed human with all the experiences that you can bring to that. I think it's really great. I think
Thank
it's
you,
great for
man.
younger players to hear that, because it's an important message, for
Yeah,
younger
and,
young
and and then
musicians.
if you look all the musicians around, and you listen to their interviews and stuff, you're gonna see it is more than, it's always, it's way, is more than the music,
Yeah,
because
it
a good
is.
music is a translation of your life experience.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. Yeah, and like, it's not just about being a great musician, it's about being a great human. That really helps the music a lot if you bring the full person to the table.
Because it's
Um,
more unique, if you can put yourself there.
yeah,
It's more unique. You find that's your voice,
that's
which
your
is very
voice.
tough in the beginning, but some artists, they could do right away. You know, some need some few albums to find their voice, but you know, yeah. So that's important to understand who you are, what you want, and just believe and do it. And then see what happens. You know,
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
the way I did in the like I did with in a group. And if you talk about with the Angra guys, would be the same. If you get to
Mm,
talk to Dave, you can see it's the same. I mean, it's not different. It's not different. It's just different level of is the musician mindset of let's do this, like the excitement, like you just said about the excitement of creating music. I was making music with Dave that's like has 10 years more than I have in this business and did everything you can imagine. So, and he still have this excitement of
Yeah.
like, oh,
And
this
that's,
is cool. Let's do, like
yeah.
I found the name of the song. I found the name of the album. That's the
Yeah.
artwork of the album. This is, I mean, it's all there. And
Yeah.
then because otherwise it's a tricky thing, be an artist. And then the older you get, I think the Megadeth deals with that. Older companies deals with that. Like you start to be, people compare your work to your younger self, which is
Oh,
pretty
sure. Yeah.
tough,
Right.
right? So like, yeah, I like you, Kiko, but like the album you did in 90 something is better. It's like the Megadeth, of course, like, oh, why is it we're gonna play Rust in Peace, we're gonna play Peace Cells, you know. So it's tough to bring something new
Yeah.
because you're not that person. You're like,
Yeah. You're a different person from 20 years ago, of course,
right? It's like you're 50, I'm 52,
as you
so
should be.
I'm not the 20. It's like I like the Kiko from when he was 21, but
Yeah.
I want to show what I'm doing now. So you always have this comparison and this is almost having like your younger self is your competitor, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
We
Gibson,
do it.
Gibson guitars, Fender guitars. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's always like the guitar from the past is way better than the new one. It's like, it's
Yeah.
a thing, right?
Yeah.
You know,
You'll
so
never win that battle.
yeah, of course.
But you
I
keep
mean,
trying. It doesn't matter.
myself, my younger self was, younger.
Yeah, but
Supposedly like a better skin, the whole
wow,
thing,
yeah, yeah. More hair.
more hair, more, but I have my experience. Come on, so
Yeah.
it's like I have what I have now. So I get excited because I can show like my development as a human being.
Mm,
I want to show that now. I know sometimes the fans they want the old stuff. So it's tough for some artists sometimes too.
yeah,
Some artists they get into the trap that okay they just play what they did 30 years ago, and they
sure.
don't take the risk anymore, which
Because
is
it's easy.
tough.
Kind of easy to do that and then not take. Yeah, like you say, not risk like something new. Because
Yeah,
people
because
sometimes the
also
fans you don't know. Yeah.
yeah because you also have the commercial side. We live in a capitalism society. So if you put your tickets to sell and you bring a crew of 50 people and three whatever, 3 buses and 5 trucks, and this you need to put people inside that venue,
Right.
otherwise you
Sure.
don't come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And to put people inside, people, it's like I want to see that band, and that band I want to see, I want to see they're playing that song that I like,
Yeah.
that they recorded 40 years. So it's part of the game. So you have to understand, and then you slowly, it's like that's what I did, and that's who I am now, and let's celebrate both.
Yeah.
So how to
Exactly.
find the balance, is tough because some artists they like I don't want to, a good example I think it was like Bob McFerrin when
Mm,
like the sing when he did that
don't worry. Yeah.
Don't Worry Be Happy
Yeah,
song,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
then he disappeared.
Yeah.
It's
Because
like
people didn't want to hear anything new. They wanted to hear that
like
song.
like and he's like a true musician. And he went to conduct
Mm,
orchestras. Like how
yeah.
crazy is that? It's like he could do the stadium tours singing "Don't Worry, Be Happy." Everybody singing along this forever,
Yeah.
But then the guy went to this other
Yeah, he wants to
thing
do other
because
stuff. Yeah, you
you
grow,
know
you mature as a musician or whatever. But
it's
he was a great
interesting.
musician. But yeah,
He's amazing. But it's like Paul
yeah,
McCartney. He's still like balancing stuff,
yeah,
doing cool new stuff, and
yeah.
also respecting the legacy. I mean,
Right.
okay, I'm gonna stop talking because if you if you let me, we can be here
No,
forever.
I find it fascinating. I think it's actually for your fans. I think it's awesome that they get a chance, a good sense of who you are beyond just being a shredder because you have a huge
Mm,
story. So I think
thank you. Yeah,
it's important for people to know that, to know
yeah.
why you.
The shred is like it's something that we like. It's like I like speed. Like, and then I had my time that I was like practicing a lot, and I still
Mm,
like that. I think it's like the speed is an
right.
emotional thing. If you do something fast suddenly, so like a fast scale or a fast arpeggio, and then you find this in every styles of music. It's
Sure.
not
Yeah.
like shredders, like
Classical
guitar
too.
from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
come on! The classical have like the Chopin. It's
some of the
electric guitar.
heaviest shredders are in classical music.
Exactly. Come on!
Yeah.
It's like you have
Yeah.
such a technical things in the classical music. Or if you get the flamenco, if you get the French jazz, super technical. If you get the Greek bouzouki, like super fast. And if you
Yeah.
get any culture, you have the fast, because playing fast is like in it's part of the nature. Something fast, like a fast wind, or
Mm.
like a fast animal.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
exciting. Yeah.
it's exciting. Or the explosion over something deep and slow is also
Mm.
very, very good as well. Heavy and deep, and like a thunder, or like a whale or something like that. So everything is in nature. So we enjoy all that. So but to play fast, you need to practice. so
Yeah.
so it's like running fast. You need to practice to run fast or to do anything, and then you have the skills of seeing somebody playing fast. That's fascinating as well. It's like
Mhm.
watching the Olympic Games and seeing all these
Right.
people doing all those stuff. It's like, come on, how they can do that, or jump so high, or
And
like
do it
throw
at a
the
very
thing,
high level,
right?
meticulously
Like
perfect. And yeah.
Usain Bolt running or things like that. That's
Yeah.
fascinating. Or like a Mr. Olympia, and see all those guys with their muscles and stuff.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like how the human being can do
Yeah, and
all
you can
this.
find you can find inspiration in all that, as even as a musician, like appreciating the perfection,
Yeah.
how many years it took to get there, right?
Yeah, I think the Olympic Games, I really like to watch them, the individual sports, like
Mm.
Michael Phelps, or when they see the guy, okay, this guy is like, he's gonna win. Sometimes you can you can see it by their faces, this guy's gonna win.
Yeah.
There's something I like to
There,
try to I like to try to watch, like a sprint, or just by the faces, to see if the guy's gonna win,
yeah,
because
yeah.
there's something about the
You can see it in their eyes. Yeah.
extra
Yeah.
2%
Yeah.
that guy's gonna win. And then yeah, anyways, so that's the shred
Yeah.
part of
But
music. I got
that's a good
fascinated by that.
that's a good
Fascinated.
analogy, because you can see, like, when a musician walks on stage and you just know they're locked in, like
Yeah.
they're right there where they need to be.
Oh yeah, and this is like playing fast and technically, and can be like with the energy as well. Maybe it's just simple chords, but super energetic, and like giving 100% all you have. And you see so many bands doing that, you know. So it's not technically fast, and then you have the classical musicians, and every culture have the fast, you have the heavy, you have the
Mm.
loud, you have the quiet, you have the meditational music, the relaxing, the classical guitar thing, like very melodic and cool. And uh, you have the sing for the spirits, for religion,
Mm. Yeah,
right?
it's all connected. Yeah, for sure.
Is all part of. So if you can translate that into if I can translate those feelings into the music I make,
Mm.
all those different feelings throughout an album, that's the best I can do.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, you know what? That's a lofty goal, but that's, that again, that comes back to speaking your truth as an artist. And that's people, it takes a long time to develop that, where you're able to hear something in your mind and to actually make it realized and be able to release it. That's a huge process. And that's something that takes years sometimes to kind of develop and learn how to do that. Right.
Yeah. and
Mm.
and some people, they get stuck on, they know how to do it, they're good doing it, but they don't have the courage to show. It's
Mm,
like,
yeah.
it's like, as I said, like, I need to walk naked in the Times Square.
That's
Like,
exactly
can you do that?
right.
Ah, it's like here in Philly. You come to Philly, you have like people like to go to saunas
Yeah,
naked.
the naked sauna. Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
come on, I'm from Brazil. I'm not going to be naked in front of like strangers. As like, it's just weird, but here's normal. And
Yeah,
then I think making music sometimes, like putting out your own music, who's gonna listen? Because you always sabotage yourself. Like, I'm not as
sure.
that good. Of course, who wants to listen my music? If you can listen to Jimi Hendrix, Jeff Beck, whatever. Like, who
Yeah,
wants to listen to Kiko? Like, no one. But it's not about that. It's about, I want to make my music and put it out. It's for
yeah.
me
Well,
first.
a lot of people want to listen to your music,
Well, hopefully,
but you're
but the
but
base,
yeah, you never know.
the starting point is like, if I start thinking, who is going to listen to my music? I don't do it because I always gonna sabotage myself. Like nobody wants to listen. Of course, the guys will prefer to listen to another famous guitar hero from the past, or the new trend that's happening now, the new player, whatever, from because it's taller or more beautiful.
Whatever,
yeah,
right.
Guitar, or have like a he can play faster, or have a beautiful guitar made of mahogany, blah blah blah. So anything you're gonna find all the excuses because he has a better jacket, has a nicer shoes, or has like a nice bracelet or something,
whatever.
Or, a plate cleaner, or you're always gonna think about something, and then when you understand, it's like, no, it's for me. This is for me. And then when I put this song out, I feel so in peace with myself that I made something that it feels like I want to do it again.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I honestly, this album is really, really awesome. And I'm going to because I'm going to wrap up only because I want to make sure that we promote your album.
Yeah.
So Theory of Mind, it's out. Check it out. It's on all the streaming platforms that we all know and love. You have a brand new video. What's the name of the song in the video that you just released?
The song is Point of No Return.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, and it's a great great video.
Yes.
Yeah, great video.
Yes.
It's really fun.
Parkour. Yeah.
And there's some behind the scenes video of the video being made, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously too, people can check you out on the Angra albums, on Megadeth, Dystopia. I definitely check that out because that's a classic album. And I appreciate you so much taking the time. I know
Thank you, Garo. Yes.
You're a busy
guy.
Let
me know when you're here in Finland.
Yeah. Well, I was just there, but I'm going to come back again in the spring. So let's go hang out and have some coffee and some salmon.
Right. and the naked sauna.
Maybe not.
No,
awesome.
Not, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. Ciao.
Bye-bye.